There is a V shape right in the center between Jesus and John. Robert told me earlier that the V is an ancient symbol for the chalice.
This is quite true, but why would Da Vinci paint a feminine symbol into the Last Supper?
I don't know. It's a painting of 13 men.
Is it? Take a closer look.
Is that an actual image of the Grail?
It's hard to say. It's almost an optical illusion, is it not?
Did Da Vinci mean to say that there was a Grail cup?
Not at all. Since it's an illusory image, I would think he was saying quite the opposite. That the idea of the Grail as a cup is the fake story, and that the real story can be found elsewhere in the painting. It all goes back to the Sangreal.
I have never heard of it.
Sure you have. You're just used to hearing it called the Holy Grail. Holy Grail is the literal meaning of Sangreal. The phrase derives from the French Sangral, which evolved to Sangreal and was eventually split into two words, San Greal.
Oh, does the word have anything to do with the French word sang, or Spanish sangre meaning blood?
Oh yes, the Grail has much to do with blood, but not in the way you might think. Let's look over the painting some more.
That is a woman!
Surprise, surprise! It's no mistake either. Leonardo was skilled at painting the differences between the sexes, but our preconceived notions of the scene are so powerful that our mind blocks out the incongruity and overrides our eyes.
Who is she?
There are other clues within the painting that may reveal her name. Look again.
That looks like an M between Jesus and that woman.
A bit too perfect for coincidence, wouldn't you say?
Why is it there?
Countless Grail-related works contain the hidden letter M, whether as watermarks, underpaintings, or compositional illusions. Conspiracists will tell you it stands for matrimonia.
You mean marriage? Jesus was married to this woman?
Their marriage is part of the historical record. These are photocopies of the Nag Hammadi and Dead Sea Scrolls, the earliest Christian records. Troublingly, they do not match up with the Gospels in the Bible. The Gospel of Philip is always a good place to start. And the companion of the Savior is Mary Magdalene. Christ loved her more than all the disciples and used to kiss her often on her mouth. The rest of the disciples were offended by it and expressed disapproval. They said to him, "Why do you love her more than all of us?"
Jesus was married to Mary Magdalene, the prostitute?
Magdalene was no such thing. That unfortunate misconception is the legacy of a smear campaign launched by the early church to cover up her role as the Holy Grail. The early church needed to convince the world that the mortal prophet Jesus was a divine being. Therefore, any Gospels that described earthly aspects of Jesus' life had to be omitted from the Bible.
Like his marriage.
I think we've got what we need to solve the cryptex, Sophie.
There's more to find in Da Vinci's painting of the Last Supper, if you are interested, of course.
Peter looks like he is threatening Mary.
Peter was definitely one of Mary's detractors. After Jesus died and was reborn, there were many debates over who should continue his church. But Mary can tell you that in her own words. Here, read this passage from her Gospel.
And Peter said, "Did the Savior really speak with a woman without our knowledge? Are we to turn about and all listen to her? Did he prefer her to us?" And Levi answered, "Peter, you have always been hot-tempered. Now I see you contending against the woman like an adversary. If the Savior made her worthy, Who are you indeed to reject her? Surely the Savior knows her very well. That is why he loved her more than us. So Peter disliked her because Jesus favored Mary over him?
Not only that, the stakes were far greater than mere affection. At this point in the Gospels, Jesus suspects he will soon be captured and crucified, so he gives Mary Magdalene instructions on how to carry on his church after he is gone. As a result, Peter expresses his discontent over playing second fiddle to a woman. I dare say Peter was something of a sexist.
This is St. Peter, the rock upon which Jesus built his church.
The same, except for one catch. According to these unaltered Gospels, it was not Peter to whom Christ gave directions with which to establish the Christian church. It was Mary Magdalene.
You are saying the Christian church was to be carried on by a woman?
That was the plan. Jesus was the original feminist. He intended for the future of his church to be in the hands of his wife.
Alright, I guess that's... You're gonna start explaining the stuff from the book, right? I haven't read it, so...
Earlier, you mentioned that the Sangreal documents told the true story of Christ.
Ah, you remembered. Yes, but as we discussed before, Sangreal derives from San Greal, or Holy Grail. But in its most ancient form, the word Sangreal was divided in a different spot.
Song Real.
Which translates to royal blood.
Precisely.
But whose blood? Christ's?
I believe there's at least one more clue to be had in the Last Supper.
Mary seems to have nearly as much attention from the apostles as Jesus.
I should hope so. She was a very important woman. Few people realize that Mary Magdalene, in addition to being Christ's right hand, was a powerful woman already.
I was under the impression that Magdalene was poor.
Just as many people think Jesus was poor. Yet he was of the house of David, descendant of King Solomon, king of the Jews. Mary was of the house of Benjamin, also of royal descent. Magdalene was recast as a whore to erase her powerful bloodlines.
But why should the early church care if Magdalene had royal blood?
My dear child, it was not Mary Magdalene's royal blood that concerned the church so much as it was her consorting with Christ. By marrying into the powerful house of Benjamin, Jesus fused two royal bloodlines, creating a potent political union with the potential of making a legitimate claim to the throne and restoring the line of kings as it was under Solomon. The legend of the Holy Grail is a legend about royal blood. When Grail legend speaks of the chalice that held the blood of Christ, it speaks in fact of Mary Magdalene, the female womb that carried Jesus' royal bloodline.
But how could Christ have a bloodline unless...
Unless they had a child.
Behold the greatest cover-up in human history. Not only was Jesus Christ married, but he was a father. My dear, Mary Magdalene was the holy vessel. She was the chalice that bore the royal bloodline of Jesus Christ. She was the womb that bore the lineage, and the vine from which the sacred fruit sprang forth.
Then there must be some way to trace the family line.
Precisely what the Priory of Sion has been keeping secret for hundreds of years. Sophie, your grandfather may have been the last man to know the secret lineage of Jesus Christ's bloodline.
Is that why he was killed?
We may never know exactly why someone would murder your grandfather in cold blood.
And the explanations kind of start to get kind of flimsy, doesn't it? Is there any more to examine? Guess there's more.
That's it for this room, right?
I think T-Bean covered the Arthurian legends pretty well already.
I don't think there's anything here anymore, is there? I don't see anything. So what's next?
Before you ask whatever inane question you are going to ask,
So, there's something about bloodlines. Is it in the... It's like they still...
Explored every possibility here. Let's keep going.
I don't think I can use... I meant the light. Because it's like a TV screen, isn't it? I don't know, I'm stumped. Knife hand. Oh, Peter is like knife hand. Is that what I'm looking for? The knife hand? Right, I don't know what to do now. Okay.